Hi there, my name is Mike Jauregui and I'm a music professional in the greater Seattle area of Washington State. The subject I chose was why water is the greatest ingredient in how frequencies and vibrations affect our well-being and the music we make. Water is the basis of all life, obviously. Without it, our Earth would be just like any other planet in our solar system, either too hot, too cold, and obviously very dry. Water allows for life to emerge and to survive. And with that comes energy. This energy through our planet's water cycle transfers through with the heat of our sun and turns it into gas. And it goes all the way through to precipitation as snow and of rainfall. Through our knowledge in basic science, we've learned how to measure the kinetic and potential energy that our water gathers in those cycles. This energy creates vibrations, and these vibrations affect everything on Earth. These vibrations are measured in terms of frequencies, which refers to the number of cycles or oscillations of a vibrating object. In the context of sound, frequency determines pitch. The higher the pitch, the higher the frequency, and vice versa. This can be visualized on musical instruments such as that of the guitar here. When playing a longer string, the pitch is lower. And if we were to shorten that string, the pitch goes higher. Now, we also know now that if we were to apply these frequencies to a plate full of sand, we could actually create shapes called Chladni shapes. Therefore, it's safe to say that objects can be stimulated through vibrations. We also know that if a nearby object shares the same frequency as that of an object being vibrated, that object will absorb that energy from the vibrating source through sympathetic vibrations. Both sympathetic vibrations and Chladni patterns are demonstrations of interaction, if you will, between sound waves and of physical objects, stimulation of physical objects, in fact. This is why vibration has been used to stimulate blood flow, for healing techniques such as for relaxing muscles, soreness, and stress. Through music, the measurement of sound dates way back to the Grecian Pythagorean philosophers, who basically connected the mechanics of musical sound to mathematical formulas. Here, Pythagorean tuning was developed, which discusses the musical intervals are derived from simple numerical ratios. The most fundamental interval being the octave, which is a 2-to-1 ratio, meaning that if I were to play a string here and I were to cut it in half, that we would get an octave. Now, what Pythagorean tuning also tells us that in all these different types of ratios, that these notes exist upon the actual fundamental frequency. So if I were to take it and split it into thirds, in fact, then I would not just have an octave here, which is the strongest 2-to-1 ratio. If we were to up it to a 3-to-2 ratio, then we have a perfect fifth above that. So, through our scientific evolution, we are now able to measure these vibrations down to a molecular level by transferring these mechanical waves into light waves. By applying electromagnetic field measurements, we're able to see a spectrum of colors based on frequency. What we now know, according to harmonic interference theory, is that these colors are actually arranged in similar instances to how musical pitches are arranged harmonically in an overtone series. This allows for us to measure energy on a molecular level and determine the levels of frequency of a vibration. With the ability to measure vibrations using EMF, we can then use this to measure things we couldn't measure before, such as energy in cells, brainwaves, and even the Earth's atmosphere. This is how we discovered the Schumann resonance. The Schumann resonance occurs in the Earth's ionospheric cavity as a result of continual lightning discharge striking the Earth. This ongoing agitation causes the Earth to ring as if it were a giant bell, which I think is pretty crazy. We also know now that because of the cells in our brains and bodies as a whole contain water, that when coupled with a vacuum created in EMF, that our cells can become coherent, which basically means that it can move as one mass, and that our cells can undergo geometric imprinting that look like the cladding patterns at a much smaller scale. Today, music and vibrations are used to treat mental health, depression, and have adopted into many hypotheses for healing of the mind and body, as well as many different pseudosciences. Through much research, though a ton of research has been done, we as a species have only scratched the surface of discovering the full spectrum of how vibrations and musical tones could be affecting us. One could theorize that the Earth's electromagnetic environment could show signs of harmonic resonation in the form of overtones. Perhaps it can cause physiological changes in the human body the way storms or ocean tides can fluctuate. If the Schumann resonance vibrates the Earth like a bell, much like Chladni's experiments prove that vibrations can have an effect on objects in its proximity, would it be safe to assume that there are patterns formed based on the fundamental frequency of the Schumann resonance? If so, could there be signs of harmonic resonation in the form of overtones? Can objects of the Earth resonate sympathetically? What can be taken away from this research paper is that everything points to a resonant vibrational system that guides life and the entire nature of our planet, which is affected by the vibrations of our solar system, and that by the galaxy, and that by the rest of the universe, using a distinct musical code. One day, we, being a species that has the ability to make music, will be able to crack that code and the key to the universe.